Hello, my name is Freddy Sabuni. I'm 25 from Tanzania. Was born in a city called Arusha, where I spent most of my childhood out there. Um, I started school in the year 1998. That's when I started my doing primary school, where I did for 7 years before joining secondary school, where I spent 4 years out there. I've always been into science subjects, so even during high school at Minaki High School, I did physics, chemistry, and maths. So after Minaki, um, I was selected to go join the University of Dodoma. I remember since when I was young, I had an interest in computers. I remember I used to play game using my uncle's computer while he was at college. He used to study in this college that was not so far from home. So I used to spend most of my weekends, go there, spend all the weekends out there playing games. So since then, I had an interest in computers. So being selected at Dodoma University to do computer science, it was a dream come true. So during my time at Dodoma University, I developed an interest in computer programming. I remember in my first year, it was C++. It was during the subject called C++, when it was very much fascinating being able to write code. I remember the first code that I did was Hello World, and it was really nice just writing it through compile the code, and see the output. It was nice. It was really nice. So I remember just developing an interest around programming. So from C++, I did Visual Basic. From there, I did Java, did .NET, PHP. Then I remember during my final year project, I decided to do a project in the area of artificial intelligence, where the name of the project was medical diagnosis system, where the system was to help or to work in places, especially rural places, where there is scarcity of doctors. You could just install the system, and the system will help the nurse to prescribe in diagnose patients' diseases. All you have to do was just insert the symptoms, and the system will be able to just search, because artificial intelligence uses trees. It's more like a tree search or tree diagram database. So it will search and it will prescribe what the patient is suffering from. Then from there you can even take the results to the lab, and the patient could be treated from there. So that was what I did for my final year project at Dodoma University. Then from there, when I finished school, I decided to go back home, think if I was gonna get employed, or I was just gonna employ myself. So from there, I went to stay with my uncles in Dar es Salaam. That's another city in Tanzania. I remember, hustling for a job for a month and a half, because I finished in June 2014. Then I remember I got a job on August, so it's like 2 months. So I was employed at this company where I worked for a month. It was called Web Technologies, and at that company, what they were doing is they are hosting websites and doing systems. So just spent a month at that company. Then from there, I joined another company called Clalon, where I was an intern there for 3 months. Basically, what they were doing is they were installing network equipment in banks and residents. So I remember spending much or most of my times just at the site installing cables, CCTV, cabinets, installing servers, and all sort of things. While I was working at Clalon, I used to go at this incubation space. It was called Kinu, where different developers can just go there, work together, or you can just go there because there was free internet, and the space would run from 8 p.m. in the morning up to 9, sometimes 4 p.m. in the night. So most of my weekends and just after work, sometimes I used to go there, spend my time building websites as my side job. So during my time out there, there was a hackathon one day, and the challenge was for a developer or anyone to just come up with a business idea, present it, and see if the idea can be invested on. So I remember pitching about starting a company that does graphic design, uh, web development, kind of stuffs. So after pitching my idea to the investors, they asked me a couple of questions, and one of the questions that they asked me was, how are you gonna beat the giants? And I remember I got stuck because they just told me that if you be able to answer that question, then we'll invest into your business. I remember just not being able to answer that question because I was just more into I'll lower my price. So it was, for me, it was more about lowering my price so I can get more customers, but to them it was more about me being creative enough to be able to even conquer the giants. I mean, the existing companies that they are doing the kind of job or the kind of work that I just wanted to get myself into. So after presenting there, I remember there were a couple of CEOs from different companies, and one of the companies that the founders were there, it was called Uruan. I remember after pitching, I met one of the co-founders of Uruan. It's called Mr. Wilmore, where we exchanged numbers, and he told me that just get my business card, then you holler me because I need someone to revamp the website. They used to have an old website, so they wanted someone who could just revamp the whole website and change the look and feel of their site so they can have something new, something brilliant. So I remember it was December 2014. So from there we used to holler one another through emails, because I remember he just gave me his business card and the number wasn't reachable. So most of the times I used to use email address to just check on him. So at the end of the day, I remember joining the company. So I went to work for him because he just told me that you can come and work for me for some time while you are building your business. So I decided to go join another company where it was his company. It was called Uhuruan. It was an ISP, internet service provider, where I worked there from 5th January 2015 for a year until 2016. So during my time at Uhuru One, I learned so much. I've made a couple of lifetime friends, and it was a great moment. So I started there as an intern, and my task was to revamp that site. So I did a new website, changed their site. Then from there, I remember uh, after spending a month, now I was told that I'll be recruited as an employee. So before being recruited, I got an opportunity to go do a certificate in this college in Nairobi. We did introduction into networking and security. It was a 3-day short course. It was really nice. So after coming back from Nairobi, that's when I was recruited as a system analyst. So while spending my time at Uhuru One, I learned so many things. I didn't know much about wireless technology, as they were selling wireless. I mean, they were providing internet service to corporates, uh, homes, and all sort of those, all sort of places. So while out to One, um, as a system analyst, I was managing a couple of systems. I remember one of the projects that we were working on was it was called Broadband for Water, which was a TV white space uh, project together with Microsoft, where we were actually uh, distributing internet to schools, colleges in Dar, and some of them were outside Dar es Salaam. Another project that I worked on while I was there was installing a billing system, because they didn't have a billing system. They were just collecting money from people just locally. So I remember I worked alongside with a company called Aleppo. It's a company from India. They are building a billing system and teleco applications. So they just came there. We installed together the system. So it was really nice for me, because I learned a lot. Learned about Linux systems. I learned about AAA servers, the radius servers, and all those sort of things. So after spending a year at Uruan, I decided to quit and just go back to do what I always thought that I just wanted to do, that is entrepreneurship. So I started a company called Phoenix, which was incubated by Twigalfa. So Twigalfa was providing space for Phoenix and mentorship and all those sort of things. So with Phoenix, I narrow myself down and focus more into mobile technology. Started doing Android applications more, because with the market, people out here, they use Android phones more. So I remember my first project was to do a lottery application. Then from there, I started to dig into financial inclusion, where we were working with one of the biggest banks in Tanzania. Because right now banks are having so much, they're having challenge, and the challenge comes from the MNO, because as you know, in Africa, most people are not banked, and more people are using mobile money, and So the challenge that the banks out here have is that they have few people who are banking with them, but the, the mobile application, I mean the mobile money subscribers keep on increasing day after day. So the challenge or the application or the, the platform that we were building was around helping one of the banks in Tanzania to help them coming up with an agents banking, which will actually improve the number of people who will bank with them. So I've worked on a couple of projects with Phoenix. Worked on came up with the loans board application where people can just log into the application, download the application from Play Store, and start paying back their loan for those students who studied using loans from the government. Yeah, so I've developed an interest around financial inclusion and mobile money. So the reason why I chose information and communication engineering is we are seeing how the world is moving so fast. Just taking China as an example, we can see how ICT has moved China very, very fast, and it has transformed its economy. So as a youth, I just don't want to be left behind. That's why I chose information and communication engineering, because when you look into the UN agenda, one of the key aspects that they're looking at is technology, meaning ICT. They just want to increase number of people who are using to reduce the number of digital illiteracy, because by doing so they believe that they will improve the economy of the developing countries. So as a youth, I just want to be able to participate in the whole process of helping my country to attain sustainable development. The reason why I chose Taiwan is number one, Taiwan is in China. It has always been my dream to come to China and study there, because China is something else when you speak about technology. They have done so much. They have done so much, and when you speak about one of the countries that technology has done great things to them, you can leave China behind. So the second thing is, as I was searching on where I'll be doing my master's degree, Taiwan was ranked among one of the best techie universities in China. So it was my pleasure, or I was keen enough to just want to join Taiwan University and do my masters out there. So I'm looking forward to come to Taiwan and have an opportunity to study out there and learn, because I just want to, the knowledge that I'll be getting there, to just come back home and share the knowledge and impact my country. Because it's not that it's to get an education, it's one thing, but being able to come back or go back to my country and help my country, share the knowledge that I'll get to other youth, to other fellow Tanzanians, it will be great to me. So yes, so another thing why I chose Taiwan is because I'll be spending 3 years out there. So with me, 3 years, it's a lot of time for me to concentrate with school and learn so much from that. So